And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel guys. I hope you're all well. Before we do get into today's video, as always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. Guys, I hope you've all still got a smile on your face, of course, after we beat the Sheep yesterday at Ibrox. Still super happy with that. I'm super happy with the way Rangers are playing at this moment in time. And we really have made an impact after our defeat at Celtic Park at the start of the year. And I'm super, or at the end of last year, should I say, sorry. And I'm super happy that things are working out, and as I stated, we're just taking a game at a time, and as I said, hopefully we can be lifting some more silverware come the end of May. Well, the bookies now believe that we are the actual favourites to go on and lift the title. Yes, for the first time this season, Rangers have become the favourites in the markets to win the Scottish Premiership this season. Yes, this comes after last night's victory. So we were 3-1, a shot of winning the league at the start of the season, but Clement's side have just lost once in the competition since September and are now favourites for the first time this season. Lee Phelps, the spokesman for William Hill, said it's no surprise to see the Scottish Premiership being exclusively contested between the two Glasgow teams, but Rangers have put themselves to the forefront of the conversation after last night's victory over Aberdeen. We've seen a subsequent shift in our outright winner market, with Rangers now our 4 to 5 favourites to lift the league. The first time they have been ahead of Celtic in the betting all season, with the boys trailing narrowly at 10-11 for a third consecutive title. With Hearts 13 points adrift of the leading pair, it is no surprise that both Glasgow sides are odds on, and you can expect this market to chop and change throughout the remainder of the season. Rangers will of course play the game in hand over Celtic next midweek when they host Ross County at Ibrox. And look guys, I know betting and all that doesn't make too much of a difference, but the house usually always wins, so it's good to see we're now the sort of favourites, but hopefully our form can continue on the park and we can keep on winning matches. And as stated, now we're on to the Scottish Cup against Ayr United. A favourable draw, let's be honest. Obviously a familiar face in the other dugout. Philippe Clemence obviously spoke about the fact that Scott Brown does in fact dislike Rangers, but it'll be good to see him being sent packing and yes, see us progress to the next round of the Scottish Cup, because I feel that we can actually win a treble this year. I really do. I feel that all the trophies are there to be won for Rangers, and I'll be greedy and say a quadruple. I'd like us to do really well in Europe, but you know, looking at that league title, looking at the Scottish Cup, I feel that we could go all the way and, as I said, lift all 3 trophies this season. That would be absolutely amazing if that actually was the case. Now, moving away from the sort of Scottish Premiership and the game last night and all those sorts of things, it's always quite good to hear, you know, pundits, former players down south in the Premier League speak of Scottish football and speak of Rangers in specifically, and we've heard you know, numerous of former players come out and laud Rangers or laud Celtic for their atmospheres and all the rest of it that comes around with it. And one of those names has been Gary Neville over the last sort of year. I think there was a year ago he was doing an exclusive interview and basically was asked with regards to his the favourite best atmosphere he's ever played in, and basically stated that Ibrox was on that occasion. And now, of course, he has got this Stick to Football podcast. It's an interesting watch, of course, was released earlier today, and straight away my phone was sort of blowing up from friends and stating Gary Neville's been out speaking about Rangers again, and basically, yeah, lauded Rangers once more and stated again that Rangers and Ibrox is the best atmosphere he has ever played in as a footballer on the Stick to Football podcast. So yeah, this is what he had to say with regards to it. We got beat against Celtic. Shunsuke Nakamura scored. We actually killed them in the first half. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But the best atmosphere I've seen in my life was at Ibrox. As the game was going about to end, I thought, what the F is this? Celtic was loud in Galatasaray. Phil Neville scored early on, but honestly, for the first couple of minutes before the game and when the game started, I've never seen anything like that in my life. The noise at Ibrox, honestly, it was unbelievable and staggering. Phil scored the winner. I had a bad game that night. I was playing against Peter Lovenkrands, who is quick. Oh my god, he was quick. And they just kept putting the ball over my head. He then continued, I think Galatasaray was something special, but Ibrox for the noise. Galatasaray Stadium, Ali Sami Yen Stadium, was open, it was a bowl. So they didn't have the roof, whereas obviously Ibrox has the roof around it. For nastiness and hostility, Galatasaray, that was unbelievable. This was, of course, United. I think it played played them in 2010, and that was, I always remember that game. That was, of course, the collared shirt. But he's obviously talking of the time, I think in 2003, 2004. But yeah, it's good to see Gary Neville still speaking, of course, about that. You know, thinking about a player who's been around, played at the highest level for all of his career, has seen it all in terms of the European competitions, and to sort of back up the fact that Rangers, of course, is still the best atmosphere that he's ever played in. And for those of you that, of course, have been to stadium, especially in the European nights, you'll understand that entirely. Now, some sort of living down south, of course, coming from down south, you always hear a lot of people be deluded in the murky waters, maybe because we were down the divisions for a good few years, but when it was sort of the social media age, then people were kind of lauding Celtic's atmosphere, but Celtic for me is not that great of an atmosphere. And again, Gary Neville, I think Roy Keane jumped in on that podcast as well and spoke, oh no, but Celtic Park is better, and then again he sort of rubbished those claims and stated, no, yeah, it was good, but not as good as Ibrox. And I think, you know, Celtic Park can have a good atmosphere, but over the last few years, absolutely not. Over the last sort of 10 years at least, they've not been a good atmosphere. I think Ibrox definitely takes, the crown for the best atmosphere in Scotland and in Britain, most certainly, when it comes down to the fans as well. So yeah, quite good to hear that from Gary Neville once again. And yeah, it's not the first time he said it, and it's not the first person from down south to say it. Everyone loves an Ibrox atmosphere, and just to tell a story of my own, you know, as stated, growing up down south, people, why you support Rangers, blah blah, you support Chelsea, you support this, that, the other, and I actually had the privilege to take some friends up to Ibrox back in 2019, I think. I've taken my friends up a few times to Ibrox for sort of European nights, but what they were blown away by, and something that always stuck with me, was when they went to the game against St. Joseph. We were playing St. Joseph's in the qualifying round 1 in the Europa League, and I think whatever, it must have been Thursday in the middle of summer, and we had sold the place out at 50,000, and really they just couldn't believe the sheer volume of fans that actually come through the gates at Ibrox and the actual noise that they made for a game against sort of part-timers. And again, still to this day, they've kind of become an adopted Rangers as their second club, which is always great to see. And I take great pride in that, showing some people the Rangers atmosphere and the Ibrox atmosphere that is. And many times, I've managed to take them to Europa League nights as well, and everybody says the same, like, I love Rangers and all that sort of stuff in the atmosphere. So again, no secret, but yeah, good to see Gary Neville coming out once again saying that Ibrox is the best atmosphere indeed. But Rangers fans, that's all I've got for you today. But do let me know the loudest atmosphere at Ibrox that you've ever witnessed. Just for instance, I know my brother went to the Braga game where Hadji did the big comeback with a 3-2. I was at I didn't get to the semi-final of the Europa League, but I was at the quarter-final against Braga it went to extra time. That was really, really loud, so a personal favourite of mine. A lot of the European nights in general, actually. I remember Villarreal at home, I think it was 0-0, Spartak Moscow, Rapid Vienna, I remember that one. I think that was our first Europa League match back, all the way back in Steven Gerrard's tenure, 2018. That was probably one of the loudest I've ever heard as well. But I'm keen to hear some of you guys, in terms of the older guys as well, or older women amongst you. Let me know your loudest and best atmosphere that you've ever witnessed at Ibrox down there in the comment section below. Has to be live though, not on the TV. A live match that you've been to that you thought was the best. As I say, let me know down there in the comment section below. That brings us to the end of today's video. As always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Poosh.